Okay, and up for sale today, I've got a beautiful 1997 Land Rover Defender 90 with the 300 TDI in Epsom green. Now, this is a UK import, so it is right-hand drive. It is now located here in Michigan and comes with a clean, clear Michigan title. It has been legally imported and it's ready for use on US roads. All right, so if you stick with me, I'll show you the whole vehicle, inside, out, underside, and we'll go for a test ride. So starting off here at the front, might as well. Here's the 300 TDI. Now this has not been detailed or power washed. It's in pretty clean shape. As you can see, no oil leaking from the valve covers or any fuel leaking anywhere as well. Looks pretty clean under here. And we still do have the EGR, which is kind of cool. Most of the time those get deleted, so this should run pretty clean. Looks like we got a new gasket here on our water pump, so I'm guessing the water pump's been replaced recently. Looks like we got new hose clamps and new hoses on here, so these all look like new rubber. Pretty good under here. Looks like it's been maintained. Fuel filter looks pretty original, or older at least. Brake lines look good. And we'll take a look at the footwells if we can get in there. All right, not too bad at all. Normally that's the rusty area right there, and that's in pretty good shape. And moving along here to the outside, bulkhead corners in good shape. Now this has been repainted. It is the original color, Epsom green, but I'd say the paint job's probably 5 to 10 years old, give or take. It does have little swirls, nicks and scratches here and there in the paint from off-road use and daily use. But I would say this paint job is a solid 7 out of 10. Super beautiful, glossy. There's a metallic sheen to it, but there's just a few little spots here and there that, you know, like a little bit of corrosion here around the hinges. And I'll do my best to show you everything here, good and bad. Kind of rusty hardware on the hinges, easily replaceable. Or if you're okay with it, just leave it as is. The door bottoms are in great shape as well. Tiny bit of corrosion there at the corners, but other than that, pretty decent. Normally they get all corroded right here at the top. So these, I bet these have been replaced, probably with the paint job 5-10 years ago. A little bit of corrosion here on the upper window area in the rear. And then we've also got a couple rusty spots here where the roof rack was. You can tell it had a roof, and you can see a little bit of rusty dripping, but that could all be cleared up with some CLR. All right, moving along here to the rear, capping's all in great shape, super clean. Again, a little bit more corrosion on the hard top. Looks like we got a new decal on the side as well. And we'll take a look here at the rear cross member. All right, so a little bit flaky here at the back, but not too bad. Nothing is rusting through. It's just starting to go a little bit. It could use some more rust proofing, but on the back side looks good. A little bit of corrosion there at the rear corner. Window seals look great. Same thing with the Alpine windows, beautiful shape. Here's the rear door. Rear door looks really good, actually. No rust on the bottoms there. On the interior of the rear, we got your standard bench seats, rubber mat for the floor, and headliner is your standard vinyl material. That looks like it has come unglued from the backing, but nice thing about that stuff is you can clean it right up and glue it right back on and it'll look new. All right, the corners look great as well, and the capping's all solid. Tiny, again, on the hardtop part, there's a little bit of corrosion going along the edges, and some of this is from where the roof rack was sitting, but again, that could be cleaned up. Sliding windows, these are aftermarket, I believe, so those have been replaced. We got a beautiful set of BF Goodrich 265/75s and the Land Rover 5-spoke alloys, so those pretty much my favorite combo. I like the Alpine white, but also the Epsom green 90s with the 5 spokes. I think they look fantastic. All right, so let's go look up front here. We got black vinyl seats, center seat, so we got 3 seats up front, 4 in the back. We've got 92,000 original miles on the clock. Go ahead and fire it up. As you can hear, the heat is blowing nice and strong. Gauges are all working. Real smooth running engine. Hardly any vibration at all. Oil looks good, no blow by or back pressure or anything, and then no smoking at all out of the tailpipe. Running nice and clean. All right, just a little side bonus here. I'm just astounded at how quiet this Defender is. You can hear the air moving from the heater, but you can barely hear the engine. And then let's go over here to the exhaust. I mean, there's hardly any noise coming out of the exhaust, any smoke at all. Running real quiet and real smooth. Okay, so let's take her for a test ride, and we'll go through the gears and the brakes and all that good stuff. So, you know, one really good thing about this vehicle is that it's super quiet in here. The loudest thing I can hear right now is the fan blower. Shut it off. You can barely hear the motor. So it's pretty quiet, which is real nice. Runs great. It's even got the original jack behind the seat, which you never see. Those always go missing for some reason. And pretty much the only downside to this vehicle are the minor blemishes in the paint, and you know, below the doors on the bottoms. You couldn't really see it on the camera because that rubber strip pretty much covers the entire bottom of the door, but there is some surface rust on the door bottoms that can definitely be remedied. Just a little bit of a scrape and some rust-proof paint on there, and you should be good to go. There's no holes or anything, no rotten areas in the doors, but just a little bit of surface rust. Other than that, she's a solid unit. 92,000 original miles, and it runs like it's only got 92,000 miles. You know, sometimes you get them that are just beat up, but this seems to have been taken pretty good care of. So there's second gear. All-wheel drive's working great. I don't feel any wheel spin on the snowy roads. And there's fourth gear. And I'm not hearing any kind of rattling or metal-on-metal noises from the suspension. Super solid. We're hitting the bumps right now, and you know, this is good as any Defender can be, really. Super solid suspension, and not hearing any kind of clunking out of the gear changes as well. So we'll drop the clutch here. That was a hard clutch drop into third, and I didn't hear anything out of the drive line or universal joints or anything like that. So super solid drive line. Third gear, top dead off, 45 miles an hour. Fourth gear, 50. Alright, so we'll slow her down a bit. I'll do a stop up here and flip it around. Alright, so no pulling at all to the left or right while we're braking. No shaking at all on the steering wheel. Brakes are working perfectly. Let's put it in reverse here. Alright, there's reverse gear. And let's see what kind of traction we can get on this snowy road here. We'll do a quick start. A little bit of wheel spin.
good.
Okay, here we are at the rear of the vehicle. Here's the passenger side. Disc brakes. Calipers look like they have a little bit of surface rust on them, but nothing too serious. The discs and the pads all in good shape. The brake lines all factory, no homemade bends or anything like that. There's a look at the rear A-frame ball joint. Looks nice and solid. Fill plug for the rear axle looks good. And same thing on the driver's side. Little surface rust, but nothing serious at all. Shocks and springs are all good. They're not brand new, but you can tell by the way the vehicle rides. There's no rattling or bumping going on back here. Nice and solid. Okay, and underneath here on the passenger side, that's a good look at the transfer case, and that's about as clean as they come, folks. I don't see anything leaking or dripping out of that transfer case, which is nice. And then there's the rear axle. Pinion seal looks good. And here's a close look at the chassis rails. Everything looks nice and solid. There's the battery box right there. Beautiful shape. And here's the front outriggers. The front radius arm bushings look good. And then there's the bottom of the oil pan. Everything looks nice and dry, actually. And there's the back side of the front axle as well. Okay, up here at the front of the vehicle, looks like we got a new set of swivel seals, so those are in great shape. There's the front radius arms. Here's the steering arm, steering dampener. That looks like it's a new part recently. A couple new parts up here. The end link on the steering arm, ball joint, tie rod end, whatever you want to call it, looks good. Swivel seals on the passenger side as well. And here's a look at the bottom of the motor. Pretty clean. Tiny little bit of oil coming out of the sump seal there, but nothing that's dripping. It's just a very slow leak. So I've definitely seen worse. Pretty decent under here.